Thank you so much for staying tuned to KTS. Of course, welcome to the Economy Trend Pointer program. I'm your host, Regina Orlando, and with me are our resident panelists of the program. And on my immediate left is Dr. Patrick Saisi, the head of departments, economics at Moi University. And at my furthest end is Mr. Richard Siele, a lecturer of economics at Moi University. Stay tuned to the program. On 24th of June 2016, the whole world woke up to the news that the United Kingdom had voted to leave the European Union. Today we just want to explore that. What's the impact of the Brexit to Britain, and what is its impact to Africa, and again narrow down to Kenya. So stay tuned to the program because it's going to be such an interesting show. Dr. Saisi, for the sake of somebody who is watching us and maybe he's not really enlightened on what the Brexit is all about, what is Brexit?
Thank you very much. Brexit is, they are talking about Britain exiting from European Union. Therefore, they have coined the word Brexit. And therefore, I think that's what we are going to look at. Moving away from European Union and being independent in Europe. What does that mean to UK? So it's a very interesting thing, and I think we need to explore it further.
Okay. And maybe to start us off, Mr. Siele, what's your general view of the Brexit?
Thank you, Regina. I think, to me, if you look at what, as far as Dr. said, is really saying that Britain, we want to be on our own, and the other, we are moving away from the European whatever. So, to me, it has an impact in Britain, in Africa, and even in Kenya. Reason being, because this is actually trade, and when it comes to international trade, you'll have an impact at every one point when there is an exit or somebody coming in. So there has to be some impact across the world.
Dr. Saisi?
Yeah, I think that is true. Britain breaking away from European Union, that shock is there, but I'm sure that things will stabilize, and UK will move on the way they wanted to, and the other countries will come together to make sure that they move on with their lives and their business, as well as issues of immigration and so on. So to me, I think Brexit is not it's not a big issue. The issue is how they are going to come out of it. Yeah, out of the European Union. Yeah.
And Mr. Sile mentioned something about the impact it has to Britain as a whole. Now, what's the impact of the Brexit to Britain?
The impact here, yes, because when you decide that you want to be on your own from your family, you know what that means. When you are still young, or when you say now, my family, I think I'm mature enough, I can be on my own, there are many things that are happening.
Sure.
And so with Britain, they are saying the reason why we are exiting is because we want to be making our own decisions. We don't want many people just to come in Britain and take jobs the way they want. And we feel that by doing so, we shall be, we shall move on faster than we used to be. So the impact of that to Britain is, number one, maybe in 2 years, things to do with immigration. The British people in Britain or countries in Europe might say, well, any British guy who is coming to our country must have a visa.
Sure.
Must have a work permit. And maybe there are some goods that they want to sell to those countries. Those countries will say, now we are going to tax you even more because you are not a member of the European Union. And so those are some of the things that they need to look at. You see, are they going to be better off when they are alone, when they are going now to be taxed on their goods and services that they will be exporting to other European countries? Are they better off when they want to go to visit Europe? They may not be just as free entering and coming out. They must have visas. Are they better off when they have their goods and services also being taxed highly because they are an outlier out there. Those are some of the things they need to ask themselves about. Yeah.
And talking about immigration issues,
Right.
do you think that the issues we've been having in Europe have been some of the contributing factors of the Brexit?
Yeah, I think, when we talk about European Union, of course, I always tell people that anytime you start something, or when there is when there is always a big brother and a small brother,
Sure.
a big sister and a small sister. In Europe, not all countries are at the same level.
Sure.
There are those ones that have really are very far compared to others, and those ones that are struggling. Obviously, people start running towards where, I don't know whether it is division or osmosis, where you want to go where better things are.
Sure.
And therefore, people from Estonia or whichever countries, they are small countries, they started looking for green pastures.
Okay.
And some of them ended up in Britain doing manual work that the British used to do at a cheaper rate. And therefore, people started saying, well, now this is not right. We used to get maybe £5 per hour, now it is £2 per hour because another guy from Czech Republic has accepted the £2. So that kind of started spurring that problem. And that is why I think immigration kind of contributed.
Okay.
Not all of it, but the contribution partially. Yeah, to
Mr.
that.
Silly, you are...
Yeah, there is something. I think what Dr. said, there are two types of impacts here. I see the negative impact in terms of affecting the Britain. There are also positive part of it. And if it means, we look at the way the other citizens were coming to Britain at a cheaper rate, now it will mean that they'll be able to, for example, maybe there was now unemployment in Britain, that will now be reduced because of this cutting off the cheaper cost or the cheaper labor from outside the Britain and leaving now the ones who are inside to really search for the market themselves. Yeah. So I find that the Britain, yes, they might say they are employing more people compared to when they were having the free whatever. That is one. The other one is, which I find negative, could be the cost of the goods. If they were actually freely importing without any tax and any tariff, you'll find that now, with the new closure, they are now saying we want to operate on our own. That means a reverse gear to me, because earlier they were saying we want to operate freely. Now they are going on a reverse gear, saying that no, let me operate alone as Britain. Now it could mean that tariffs will come in. In this, they want to buy a good from the other neighbor, a European country. That means they'll be able to pay heavily. So here, another taxes, another whatever, other effects of which we cannot be able to expand everything here.
Okay.
But we'll have the negative and the positive impacts to Britain.
Okay.
Thank
And just from what you've explained,
Yes.
do you think that the value of the sterling pound is going to go down?
I could call it a short run and long run.
Okay.
Short run, it might go down. That means it might depreciate. In the sense that you look at it, it was earlier it was being used by almost like every other country. Now they are going on their own. It will mean either the goods will now become, as they produce, they will actually produce at a higher cost, for example.
Okay.
Now their cost, or their actually unit cost, price, that is the pounds, will reduce and hence depreciate. Yeah.
And Dr. Saisi, is it true to say that United Kingdom still have 2 years to think through whether they want to really exit or they want to remain within the European Union?
That is what there is a clause 50 that every time they have been talking about, that they need to think about, after referendum. Do they really want to get out, or there is another way they can say no, we cannot? So it depends. That's why the Prime Minister was saying that the results must be respected.
Okay.
That people want to pull out, and there is no way now that the results, the verdict has been made, that they need again to reverse it. He said they need to follow through that. But on the other hand, things about immigration and the cheaper labor. I thought by having people coming in, we normally say demand and supply.
Sure.
determines the prices of everything.
Sure.
And if in Europe labor was expensive and it's becoming cheaper, I thought it is better for the business people, so that they can save more and invest more and expand their business. I mean, to me, that would have been better, because then they will employ even more people. But for them now to turn and say maybe cheaper labor because now we are unable to get what we used to get and so on, that is, to me, it is not a point to pull out of the European Union. Because I think it is, to me, demand and supply. You have more labor, then it is easier to hire them because you can be able to manage to pay them. And then less. And then you whatever you get profit, you can invest back and expand the business and employ more people. That's how I was looking at it.
I think, Regina, I don't know whether really what Dr. is saying is really true. That is their fear.
Sure.
As you look at it, it is like the Britain are saying, no, you have given us cheaper labor, but here there are citizens who are actually well educated and all that, who needs to earn a higher salary, for example, are actually, they are not earning the higher salary because somebody who is trained on the same level is actually coming at a cheaper price. So I don't know, this now takes us to, I don't know, we'll be in Kenya at what time? Because I want us to bring it to Kenya, like the way we want to import cheaper things, we are saying we don't want to open our market because those ones will bring in what? Cheap goods, for example. Hence, it will actually affect our industry, for example. We'll be in Kenya, I'm sure. So the way the Britain are actually explaining this is as if they are really after their own citizens to earn a good salary, as opposed to bring the other people from the other European whatever with the same skill, same training, but at a cheaper. It is good for the market, but now they are saying it's no longer good for us. I don't know. It's something.
And Dr. you mentioned about the sentiments of the Prime Minister, David Cameron, who also resigned after the referendum, that he said that the wish of the UK people must be respected. And now in the process of respecting the rights of the United Kingdom people, do you think it's going to affect them?
Negatively or positively? I mean, if they need to, because
maybe before that, do you think there's no room for negotiations, for further negotiations within the 2-year period?
Yeah, I think there is. Although I heard the Prime Minister of Germany saying, ruling out any informal discussion about this. They said, you have done your bit. We respect it and we shall move on. And you saw Cameroon was trying to tell people that we must respect it, because if not, if they turn and say no, we are not leaving Europe, it's like they were telling Cameroon, get out.
Oh, indirectly.
Indirectly, they are kicking him out of power. Now he has resigned, now let us now go back and reunite. So that's why he's saying, let us be genuine. If we said we are moving out, let's move out. Otherwise, this will be like a game where you just wanted to kick my government out of power, and then you go back. That's why, but other people also, the Prime Minister of Germany and other people are saying they don't want to negotiate anything. Any informal talks about moving out, they don't want.
And according to you people, do you think that there have been similar referendums previously in UK?
Oh yeah, there have been. Even some, I don't know, there was even a small, was it Scotland or wherever, they wanted to secede from UK. United Kingdom is made of various, but they were unable to pull out of Britain because they were being told, whatever you get from England is more as a group, is better than when you stand alone. And that is how it happened. So Cameron thought maybe the same card that was played there would be played at the national level. But looks like things didn't work. But it is like, it was a very close contest. 48-52. That was very close. So the country is divided.
And again in 2013 there was a push for the UK to withdraw from the EU, though it was botched at some point.
They have been wanting that. But I listened to Boris, is it Johnston Boris or whoever it is? the guy who was leading the opposition to get out of
The EU.
Yeah, the way he was talking, I think for him, he was stressing about UK being independent to make their own decisions without being bound by the rules in the EU. Because he was talking, if you want to talk about defense, anything, you want to make a decision, you have to go to Brussels. They are the headquarters.
You have to be given consent.
You have to be given the consent from Brussels. If you want to do anything, they are referring you to Brussels. So for them, they were like, we are not as free to make our own decisions. They don't want every time to be playing the second fiddle to Brussels. That's why they decided we want to get out so that we can make our own friends, decide on our own, and do our own business.
Okay. Mr. Sele?
Yes, it is true. I think that freedom for Britain was actually what would have been holding them, because even in here, where we want to say we want to be in the East Africa community and all that, I'm telling you, we are like, we want to have one currency. We want to have we have central, some people who are representing Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, what. Now, you look at it, there are decisions which might not be made, or which might not be made unless you consult. And that is where we could reach there. So it is true. Maybe Britain wanted to have their own. Let us have a discussion when we want to make we make a decision we have made and final, as opposed to going to seek elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, still on Britain, do you think that the Brexit, the Brexit means that they are going to have their own policies now? They're going to come up with their own policies.
Exactly. And that's what they are doing. That's what they are doing. They are saying we want to have to follow our laws and come out with our policies.
They're breaking totally, completely from the European Union policies.
Yeah, they were saying, but they are just breaking away from the policies. But they are not. They are saying, Boris was saying, Britain is in Europe, so we are not moving away from Europe.
Yeah. Physically, you are not moving away.
Physically, we are not moving.
So it's ironical.
So he's saying we are in Europe, my friend. We are not moving physically away from Europe. So we are there. But what we want is, we come up with our own policies, we follow them through, and without asking somebody in Brussels what we want to do. But then the Brussels people are saying, my friend, European Union is a big market for your goods and services. That is why you have ready-made market. Why do you want to get out? Because if you get out, we are going to tax your goods and services heavily than when you are a member.
Okay.
So we don't know whether they looked into that and said, yeah, to hell, we can even if you tax highly, we shall still survive, because Cameron was talking about the economy being fundamentally strong. So we shall wait and see.
We shall wait and see. But I believe Britain has some insight, concrete, I call them information as to why they are moving out.
Okay.
We might not have seen it now,
Sure.
but I'm sure they really have, even the impact in the event we are taxed, in the event the tariff increases, in the event of anything. I'm sure they should be having their documents somewhere.
They've made their own evaluation.
Yes, they must have done it, and we'll see. It will unfold as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
The economic trend pointer takes a short break, but stay tuned to KTS.